So last week someone reached out to me and asked me what tool they should learn first if they want to get into no-code. And the answer is, it really depends on what it is that you build. But the first tool that I started off with was Webflow, and Webflow has definitely been the most valuable tool to learn. Webflow is, however, one of the harder tools to learn, which is why I decided to make this quick little video for you with my top 3 tips or suggestions on how to learn Webflow. If you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Connor. I'm the founder of the Unicorn Factory, a freelancer marketplace in New Zealand. I created the entire platform from scratch using no-code tools like Webflow, Airtable, and Zapier. So if you are a non-coder and you are looking for ways to build your own online platform, your own online business, then you are in the right spot. All you need to do now is subscribe to the channel, and I will be sending you more videos and tutorials like this in the future. But without further ado, let's dive into the first 3 tips on how to get started with Webflow. So one of the easiest ways to learn how all the controls on Webflow work is by editing templates. When I started, I tried to learn by building a website from scratch from a blank canvas, and honestly, I just could not build momentum. So the first suggestion that I'd make is go to the Webflow website, create a new project, and pick one of the free templates that you can then edit. Cool, so all you need to do is just scroll to the free template section, pick a template, let's pick this one here, start your 5-star project. And now what you're looking at is a pre-made website that you can start modifying. So some things to know straight off the bat is that you use the left side, the navigator, to see what the current structure of the site is. You can also add additional elements to the structure. So let's say we want to add another text under this. You can click the plus button, click on heading, and what will happen is another element will be added underneath. On the right side, you have the style panel, and on the style panel is where you can make visual changes to the different elements. So let's say, for example, you want to increase the size of the font. You just click on the text that you want to modify, and then you just scroll around the side here till you see the different elements, and then you can just type in how you want to change it. Now, on the right side are all these different controls that affect the style of different elements on the page. If you want to change a specific element, all you need to do is click on it and then go and make the changes that you want. So the point of this is not to learn how to build a new website just yet. At the moment, all you want to do is get familiar with the different controls inside of the Webflow designer. Now, I would encourage you to particularly focus on the design panel where you can change the style of different elements, and try to get familiar with as many of the controls as possible. Some good challenges to start off with is try to change the color of the buttons, try to change the color of the button on hover, try to change the background image, and as soon as you get familiar with that, you're already quite far ahead in terms of knowing how Webflow works. And so once you are comfortable with how the design panel works, now what you want to do is you want to learn how to structure sites properly. And this is where we now go into tip number 2. So the next thing that you're going to need to learn is you're going to need to learn how to structure your site properly. And you're really also going to need to learn how the entire design process works. And that can be quite overwhelming. So understanding how the tool is one thing, but then knowing how to start and finish a project is a whole new ball game. But luckily, Webflow has one of the best, they have the best internal education platform I have seen any company have, and it's called Webflow University. So Webflow University is a website that has a whole bunch of lessons about how to set up a Webflow site. They have lessons ranging from everything from how to use the tool to how e-commerce works to how SEO works and so on. One thing that is particularly fantastic about Webflow University is the production quality of their videos is just on another level. They break down everything super clearly to make it really understandable for anyone, no matter where they are in their Webflow journey. The storytelling and the hosts are hilarious, which makes the whole learning process a lot easier. And most importantly, they cover every little aspect of using Webflow. So you can check out individual lessons depending on what problem you're trying to solve at any given time. But they also have entire courses with a series of lessons that allow you to do things like build an entire project from scratch. So the course that I did that really helped me understand how Webflow works was the Create a Custom Portfolio course that is now on Webflow. It's an 8-part series and it covers absolutely everything that you need to know in the design process, from coming up with the ideas to building it, to making it mobile responsive, to using the Webflow CMS. So at the end of it, you would have rebuilt an entire portfolio website and you'll know how Webflow works. So after doing that course, I got really comfortable with understanding what the process of building a website looked like. So just to recap the steps that we have so far, first of all, get familiar with some of the controls, make some changes to some pre-made templates, and once that is done, jump over to Webflow University and do one of their courses that allows you to build a website from start to end. So if you manage to do all of that, you're pretty much 80% of the way there. And I'm convinced that you can go through both of those steps within a month and you'll feel comfortable with using the tool then. And at this point, most of the stuff that you'll continue to learn are mostly refinements. And the best place to learn refinements is through the Webflow Showcase, and that is where we're going to be going for tip number 3. So the Webflow Showcase is a library of projects created by other Webflow users. Now, the Webflow Showcase has some of the most amazing work. Whenever I go and visit the Webflow Showcase, I feel the need to redesign my website, which is a bit of a problem, but that's just how good the work is. What's particularly cool about the Webflow Showcase is not just do you get inspired by amazing work, you can also jump into the Webflow projects and inspect it from the perspective of the designer. So you can see how the designer structured their site, how they design certain elements, and if you are looking for ways to rebuild certain sections that the Webflow designer made, then you can see exactly how they did it in the Webflow designer. So this is the Webflow Showcase. Just scrolling around on the first page, you can already see what amazing projects are out there. So let's go and check out the Pitch Webflow rebuild that was added by Andrea. So as you see, when you click into the website, you actually end up in the designer, so you can actually see how it was structured. And you can already see that it's an amazing looking website. Now let's say I want to learn how to build a section like this. All you need to do is just click into it, and then you'll be able to see on the left side in the navigator how that particular section has been formatted. I found being able to inspect these types of projects particularly useful when it came to seeing how to make your site more mobile responsive, because that was something that was quite challenging for me early on. But then just being able to look inside of the different elements, seeing how people structure it, how they name their class names, and how they format it at certain stages was really helpful to really just quickly understand how I should approach it. So one last small little pro tip is some projects inside of the showcase are clonable, which means if you see a project like I just showed you, you can actually clone it, put it into your own designer, and then just rebuild it without making any changes to the original copy that was uploaded to the showcase. And that's it. Those are my 3 tips for learning how to become a Webflow developer faster if you are brand new to the tool. I think the most important thing to know is that it is a difficult tool to learn, no doubt, but if you stick to it and you commit to building something, then you will get there for sure. Some people take 3 months to get there like myself, but I'm convinced that if you just follow some of the tips that I gave you, you'll be able to get there a lot faster. And just so you know what kind of opportunities are out there at the end of the tunnel, I made most of my freelance money over the last 2 years building websites for people, and I managed to build the Unicorn Factory without having to hire any developers. And let me just put it this way, even though it's hard to learn, it's absolutely worth learning. So if you enjoyed this video, if you feel like those tips were valuable, please leave a like and a comment on this video, and definitely let me know what kind of things you're working on. I think the one thing that I forgot to mention is that the Webflow community is awesome. There are a whole bunch of people that create amazing tutorials like the Pixel Geek and Ran Segal. So definitely check out what else is out there, but the most important thing is just get started. I need you to learn how to build Webflow so that I can rope you into building your own directories and marketplaces. But that was it. Have a great one, and I'll see you back for the next one.